We will strive on. As long as the people of Palestine know we as South Africa are with them, we will strive on. We won't tire.
They came in the dead of night, not with an army, not with tanks, but with a whisper, a promise, a lie. South Africans, have you ever felt that something is happening just beyond the edge of your vision, a current moving beneath the surface of the beloved, broken nation? It begins with a mystery in the rain at O.R. Tambo International Airport, a charter flight arriving from a war-torn land. On board, 153 souls from Gaza, Palestinians. They stepped onto the tarmac with nothing but the clothes on their backs and a desperate hope. Their passports, we're told, bore no Israeli stamps. They had no return tickets, no addresses to go to, and so they were held for 12 long hours, trapped in a bureaucratic limbo on the cold, hard ground. Can you imagine fleeing the unimaginable horror of genocide, only to be met with the cold shoulder of a nation that claims to be a beacon of freedom? But then a savior appears, a charity, gift of the givers. They step in, they guarantee accommodation, and just like that, 130 of these passengers are allowed to walk into South Africa. A humanitarian act, right? It's what we do. We have hearts. We help. But my friends, you have to lean in close now. You have to listen to the spaces between the words, because this was not the first flight. Another had come weeks before, 176 people let in without a whisper, and who arranged this desperate journey. A shadowy, unregistered group with a grand name, Al-Majd Europe. The Palestinian embassy itself calls them misleading, accusing them of exploiting desperate families, of taking their money, $1,600 a person, paid into a crypto account, and selling them a dream to an unknown destination. One passenger, Dr. Ahmed Shehada, said he thought it was a scam. He had no idea where he was truly going. And this is where the whisper becomes a shout. Our own president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and our foreign minister, Ronald Lamola, they looked at this and they saw not a humanitarian crisis, but a, quote, broader agenda to cleanse Palestinians out of Gaza, a clearly orchestrated operation of forced displacement. And they vowed to stop any more flights. But the plane came from Israel's Eilat Ramon Airport. It transited through Nairobi Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The Israeli military authority, Kogat, admitted it allowed these people to leave Gaza only after it, and I quote, received approval from a third country to receive them. They wouldn't say which country. But we know, don't we? With Israel's absolute control over every person who enters or leaves Gaza, this exodus could not have happened without a nod from the very top. So we are left with a chilling question. Are we, South Africa, being used as a pawn in a terrible game of demographic engineering? Are we being made the unwitting recipients of a population transfer, a quiet cleansing half a world away? And this, my friends, is where the story twists and deepens, sinking its roots deep into the soil of our own nation. Because who was there to welcome them? Who is always there? The smiling, benevolent face in the midst of chaos. Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman of Gift of the Givers. Now, let me be clear. On the surface, this is a man who seems beyond reproach, a medical doctor, a humanitarian. His organization, founded on a spiritual vision from a Sufi teacher in Turkey, has served millions. He says his work is for all people, of all races, religions, colors. He has won awards. He is called a hero. And when he helps those 130 stranded souls on the tarmac, he looks like a saint, doesn't he? But you must ask yourself, why is he so consistently, so perfectly positioned at the center of these events? When a campaign of disinformation arose against him, as reported by Al Jazeera, accusing him of an Islamist agenda, it was easily dismissed as a smear from pro-Israeli groups, and perhaps it was. But what if we are being played from both sides? What if the smears are designed to make us dismiss the very real questions we should be asking? Because the scale of his work is staggering. 6 billion rands in aid across 47 countries. He says over 90% of his work in South Africa helps non-Muslims. He helps Christian farmers, he says. He distributes Christmas parcels from a mosque. It's a beautiful picture of unity, but I ask you, when does philanthropy become influence? When does aid become a vehicle for a very specific, very quiet form of soft power jihad? And this brings us to the political spear, the woman who gives this entire operation its political cover, Naledi Pandor. Our former Minister of International Relations, the public face of our case against Israel at the World Court, a vocal, passionate supporter of the Palestinian cause, a position many of us, given our history, can understand and even support. But listen to her words. Really listen. Not just the public statements about freedom and justice. Listen to what she said in August of last year. She stood before a crowd and she said, and these are her exact words, "We are permitted to engage in jihad when necessary." Jihad.
And we should be ready to protect them when they are threatened. I said recently in America that we as Muslims, we are a peace-loving people, but we are permitted to engage in jihad when necessary. And we must remember this.
She clarified it, of course. She said it was a struggle for social justice. But she used that word which echoes across the world with the ring of holy war, and she said it as a senior stateswoman of South Africa. This is not a random cleric in a mosque. This is a former minister shaping the conscience of a nation. Her actions and her language paint a very clear picture of alignment. An alignment not just with a political cause, but with a religious and ideological one. So, let's connect the dots, my people. Let's have the courage to see the pattern that they dare us to call a conspiracy. A shadowy group funnels Palestinians from a conflict zone with the apparent coordination of the Israeli state straight onto our soil. A powerful billionaire rand charity led by a man with a stated divine mission is there to receive them, embedding them into our society, and a senior, influential politician provides the top-level political and ideological justification using the language of international law and the language of jihad. This is not about being against helping people in need. This is about sovereignty. This is about transparency. This is about asking, who is writing the future of South Africa? Is it still South Africans, all South Africans together? Or is there a new script being written, one flight, one charity package, one political speech at a time? For white South Africans, for every minority community watching the fabric of this nation change at a bewildering pace, this hits a deep and painful nerve. We are told to be silent. We are told our concerns are born of bigotry. We are sidelined, called privileged. Our struggles and our fears dismissed. But our love for this country is no less real. Our ancestors' blood is in this soil too. And to see our nation potentially becoming a pawn in a global ideological and religious project, while we are told to just accept it, to just be quiet, it is a frustration that boils into a quiet, righteous anger. This is the real impact of this hidden agenda. It's the inequality of truth. It's the exclusion from the conversation about our own home. It's the misunderstanding that brands any question, any request for clarity as hatred. We are watching a narrative being constructed, brick by brick, where compassion is weaponized, where humanitarianism is a shield, and where political posturing is a sword. And if we do not wake up, if we do not start asking these difficult questions out loud, we will wake up one day in a country we no longer recognize. This is not the South Africa for which our grandparents fought. This is not the rainbow nation we were promised. This is something else, something being built in the shadows, on the tarmac, in the rain, in the halls of power, and in the quiet, relentless work of those who serve a vision that may not include all South Africans. But it is not too late. The story is still being written, and we still hold the pen. If this report has stirred something in you, if it has made you think, made you angry, made you feel seen, then you cannot let this be the end. Your voice is the one thing they cannot control. So I am asking you, from the bottom of my heart, help me amplify this. Help me tell the stories that they don't want told. Like this video. Let the algorithm know that truth matters. Subscribe to this channel. Become part of a community that refuses to be silent. Share this with everyone you know. Start the conversation around your braai, in your family WhatsApp groups. Break the silence. And please, if you have the means, join the channel membership or donate via Super Thanks using the links below. Your support is not just about keeping the lights on, it's what allows us to dig deeper, to bypass the controlled narratives and bring the unvarnished truth directly to you. It's how we ensure that more South Africans from every community can have their stories told and their fears heard.